Shankar just said, from Abu Dhabi. My parents are Rashmi and Jayakrishan. I have an older brother, Ved Narayan, who's studying psychology second year in Kriya University. And he was actually part of the Teen CI program, the first one. So I started my journey with Vigyan because when I was in grade 5, and I got to know of these classes in 2015 through my cousins Niranjan Verma and Madhav Verma. So fortunately, at that time, there were a lot of students in Abu Dhabi as well who were quite interested. So Satish Uncle decided to come to Abu Dhabi all the way from Sharjah and conduct classes here every month. This was a big blessing for all the students here and parents in Abu Dhabi because of the long travel to Sharjah that many of us couldn't do so. I still remember the first class. I was sitting on the floor. It was actually, I thought it was going to be boring actually, because I thought it was going to be chanting slokas and nothing more than that. So the class started off with a PowerPoint presentation with the thought of the day. But to my surprise, it wasn't just someone copying one off the internet, but Uncle encouraged all of us to ask questions and discuss with each other and share our opinions. Next was the stories from the Bhagavatam, which Nisha Auntie made us read and then was shown video clippings of the story, which took us to the world of imagination. Now, the best part here was again when Satish Uncle showed us how these stories are analogies that play out in our real life. For instance, how the asuras and devas that we often hear about represent the positive and negative tendencies inside our own mind. And these fights happen every day. And lastly, the Bhagavad Gita slokas wasn't simply something that we recited every other day or every day, but each of these lines, each of these slokas, every word had a meaning which Uncle had broken down and explained in detail. Now, every class also had some interesting topics on how the brain works, and Uncle used to give us a lot of strategies to study smart and create good habits for studying. Now, this experience, this class genuinely left a mark on me because I realized that this wasn't just a class where we decide, tell stories, or do something like that for no reason, but each and everything we did underwent thinking and great discussion and thought by Uncle. As months passed by, I could see myself eagerly waiting for the classes we had every month, and this eventually turned into every other week. As soon as the classes got over, I used to discuss with my parents and grandparents, and this became a common thing in our dinner table conversations. So my brother and I used to actually have interesting discussions and debates, more than discussions, every week about these perspectives and opinions that we had. And I realized that this was just the beginning of an amazing journey to know and understand the philosophy and the practical application of Bhagavad Gita. Now, I just told you about how the stories from the Bhagavatam was introduced to us as analogies to the real world, right? So rather than just making us listen to these stories, Uncle organized exhibitions, plays, dance dramas, and mimes to instill deeply all this knowledge taught to us. Now, the first drama I witnessed was the story of Prahlada and Narasimha. Now, throughout that week, reflecting on this analogy, I started to think about this unrealistic half-lion, half-man creature. It was just more than a character from a story or a work of fiction. So Uncle told us how the lion represented strength and dispassion, and the man represented discrimination, and together they united to destroy ego and selfishness. Now, after this, I started to think about all these stories. I understood how Uncle wanted to show us through the story how when we face a difficult or challenging situation, for instance, we have to use both our discrimination, dispassion inside our head to challenge this. Now, eventually, I got the opportunity myself to participate in such an event. Now, this was a story of the churning of the ocean. Being my first time participating with everyone, I was actually quite nervous as to how the entire process would play out. But over the months, we went to Sharjah around every other week for practice and advice and rehearsals. And I remember the countless hours I spent with my Abu Dhabi friends in our houses, reviewing and practicing with each other. The entire journey itself showed me the dedication and effort that all the children, parents, and everyone put together, especially Uncle and Auntie. I could see that everyone was working passionately towards making the show a great success. Now, after this months of practice, the day where we got on stage and performed to the audience came. Now, after the play, the satisfaction that we got, knowing that we put our best and all of our efforts, is something that you cannot create again. Uncle has often said this, the joys of the self, the joy that we get after seeing the result of our hard work and dedication, the joy that we get after putting our best self. Now, this was one of the first experiences that I got of this choice of the self, and I did experience this many times later. And I began to apply this in my life through various different means. That is, putting my best in my academics, putting my best in my projects. I'll get to this a bit later. A few years later, because of COVID, as the classes were online back in 2020, it was much more difficult to organize these plays, dramas, and so on. But if anything, Uncle saw this as an opportunity. He was more motivated and enthusiastic to make use of this newfound opportunity, the reach. So towards the end of 2020, we were all preparing for an online event called Uttama. And I was a part of the team called Pavakudu Sangam. And for those that can understand a bit of Malayalam, it had something to do with the puppet show. Now, the problem was there were 5 of us and we had to make a puppet show, but all of us were in our own homes with scrap materials. And when I was assigned to this, I was actually quite baffled. I didn't know what to do. But my team and I eventually garnered more confidence and started to brainstorm. So what we did was we got a blackboard and I covered the board with my mom's shawl. And then I made plastic cups using I made puppets using plastic cups and chariots using foams, because the story was about the birth of Krishna. We recorded each scene so many times and different lighting, different techniques, and so on. Our goal was to always improve and present the perfect product. So we learned lots of things all along the way. So as a video editor, I learned how to use green screen. So what I did was I stuck green sheets of paper onto the blackboard and then edit that out the video. Now, what I learned from this is the ability to use what you have and make the best out of it. Our goal in everything in life shouldn't just to become satisfactory or mediocre, or just present a product. It should be to push yourself to achieve the best, even if you make mistakes or fail the first round. If you see the video, you can see marks of the amount of effort we put. I saw that although we were supposed to make a puppet show, in reality, what Uncle wanted us to do was to use our creativity and approach a challenging problem and learn new things along the way. And I believe this extends to our daily life as well. So for instance, during the F1 in schools competition, we had to make a miniature car. And I spent over 15 hours a day for 2 weeks, making over 100 prototypes of our wheels, axles, and body. And our goal there was to put our very best with what we have. We could have just spent a couple hours a day and made a product that works, but what I wanted to do was put my best. Now, this is something that I wouldn't have gotten this value, is something I wouldn't have gotten if I hadn't already experienced it through the various events. To reiterate, I think the goal of all of these events is beyond just participation. From uncle and auntie pushing us to our best during the dramas and plays, and giving us an understanding of the joy that we get after doing a difficult thing, after putting our best, and the difficult position we were put in to create a puppet show where we had to use our creativity and had to always learn and grow throughout the process. Now, to conclude, I'd like to thank each and every person from the bottom of my heart who's been a part of my journey, starting from my parents who motivated me to join Vigyambikas to all the parents in front of me. Some helped in the commute from Abu Dhabi to Sharjah. Some helped in enacting and recording our videos for the dramas, and face and overcome challenges during the plays and events. I would like to thank all the peers who have accompanied me in my journey and helped me see different perspectives and appreciate different opinions. I would also especially like to thank the wise Vivians for all their advice and sharing their experiences. For instance, in the last 2 years, actually, I've contacted Siddharth Menon, who helped me through various different projects and guided me with my university selection and so on. And last but not the least, I would like to thank Bindu Auntie and Satish Uncle, who played a major role in every aspect of my journey. So Bindu Auntie gave me the values of inclusiveness and dedication. I could see her working tirelessly behind every drama. She was the pillar that held everyone together. She looked at each and every one, each student, each child as an important part of the entire program. And she never left anyone behind. Uncle was always available to us in every form and was always happy to help us, even outside of things of Vigyambikas. I was actually just going through my emails yesterday with Satish Uncle, and I found that I wrote a mail in 2017 to Uncle inquiring about which laptop I should get for programming and gaming. And I saw Uncle give an elaborate explanation on like the different laptops and the differences between the ones I've put forward. Now, this may seem like a little thing, but it's the many little things that uncle will do for you that adds up to leave a mark. So I'm grateful for a mentor like you, uncle, who I can always look upon for guidance. I'm proud to be a part of this huge family. And I'm confident that the valuable lessons and the knowledge imparted through the different classes throughout the years will always be a part of my reference to lead my future life. I would like to tell all the young Vivians here that you're always free to contact me for any guidance or support in personal or student life. As a proud Vivian, I'm looking forward to join the Wise Vivian community and soon contribute back to the community. Over to you.